Healing is more than a hashtag.
Healing is prioritizing your well-being.
Healing is growing through our painful moments.
Healing is loving yourself more and more each day.
Healing is not always pretty, but it's worth it.
Healing is gratitude for another beautiful day.
Healing is gratitude for another beautiful day.
Exactly. That right there, just it really is just the whole essence right now. I'm feeling that. Like, I am so grateful. Sis, can you believe it? Where we made it to? Oh,
Episode 10,
y'all,
episode of
we
the
might
season.
cry. I don't know. Be
Oh
here
my
with us.
God.
Support us because it's real out here. Oh man, we were just talking like we are different people. If you've been
Completely different
following
people.
us from day one, which shout out to our listeners who've been following us from day one. We love you. We appreciate you. But like I feel like a different person from the beginning to now, just growing with my amazing co-host. I'm just so happy and grateful.
Yeah, it's awesome and it's beautiful and it's a great journey to be on. And it is like a well of gratitude just like
Yes.
springing up because I'm just
Mm.
thinking about where we were to where we are now. It's just beautiful. And
Yes.
we've been through it, you know. We've been
Yes. Look, listeners, as we always say, we on the journey with you. Like on any given day we come on to share with you, we might have been dealing with something right before, but you know what? Here we are, right with you. I
Here
mean,
we
look,
are.
we right here with you. Yes, in the
Exactly.
journey of healing and wellness. So welcome. Yes. So
Yes.
Steph, sis, tell them what's going on. What's up?
Yeah. Yeah. So we are doing a big season finale, and we have not one guest, but two guests who are going to speak about mental health in the music industry. You know, I think it's such a good time. We're watching the Grammys happening. We're watching, new artists popping up. We're also seeing so many issues being reported in the music industry with the music industry. So it'll be good to hear from artists who are in the industry and who can give insight. Maybe other artists who are listening or family members who have artists, who are concerned with them. Like it would just be good to hear their insight because the pandemic is artists really not taking care of themselves mentally. And you have such a good creative gift and you give it out and out and out and out. And it's like a towel being wrung dry and you have
Right.
nothing to replenish you. So I think we're
Yes.
in a good time to discuss that.
I agree, sis. This is a good as time as any to get into this topic. So I'm excited to have our guests on and to have them share their perspective on this very important topic in this day and age. So
For
yeah,
sure,
that's it.
for sure. And before we do that, we wanted to do a quick recap or like favorite moments or episode from the season. What were you
Yeah.
thinking? There are so many, but what were you thinking?
Sis, I know, like I said, that I'm a different person in our journey. When I look back at some of the episodes, I'm like, oh my gosh, like we just, our whole chemistry from, day one, but even to now is grown and evolved. So I'm just loving it. As far as favorite episodes, hands down, intentional relationships was my
Mhm.
favorite. I feel because the chemistry was great. We were just like we were just sitting back, chatting, chilling, talking, and it was like it, and we hadn't really I want to say prepared in the same ways that we go all in with our questions for our guests and what have you and our topics. By the way, y'all, like we real out here, like we prepare for this. There's a whole lot that goes in. Like we develop
Yes.
questions, we decide on topics, we have to decide on guests and have to actually connect with them, and the technology piece, which my sis, she get it on and pop in to have this whole link for y'all to like be able to see and promote it. So I just say all that to say that episode when we did all the stuff that we do in terms of promotions, et cetera, but we didn't like go all in prepping for the questions, and it was just so natural and free flowing. I was like, intentional relationships, you have relationships on purpose. And so
Yes.
go back and check that one out. Intentional relationships was the topic. I loved our whole vibe. It was so beautiful. And we talked about our intentional relationship, like the two of us, how we decided to work together. And that was nothing short of intentionality. So sis, that was it for me.
Yeah, it's true. And I mean, because we were the living witness of the intentional relationship and how they can actually work. You know what I mean? Um, for me, it was the hurt people, and heal people. That, oh man.
Yes, that's so true. Because
But
we
then I
tag team on
also,
that.
we
Yeah,
tag teamed, but I
part
also
one,
like
part two.
divorcing trauma and married to trauma. Like I also like that series. I liked when we
Yeah,
did an accompanying series. Like one
yes,
week we do that, and then we do the companion the next week. It just helped us to dig deep. It's like balance. You know, we know that if you're married to trauma, then you have to divorce yourself from trauma. It's just a reality.
exactly. And I love that you said it's a series because like people love to watch, binge watch shows. Like I can't wait to see the next one. So we had you lock in on the first part one, so that you had to come back for part two. I
Had to come
love
back.
that. Yes, that's it. That's it. I love that for
Correct.
sure.
Absolutely. And it was beautiful. And it was just like, oh wow. A lot of healing happened, and we just been rocking it. And I'm grateful, and I'm giving you your flowers, right? It's just like it's a joy. It's a joy to work with you. It was a joy
Yes.
to be with you this season, for our
Yes.
relationship to grow on and off camera. It was awesome. And
Mm-hmm.
it's a sisterhood,
It
and it's
really is.
beautiful. We've never met in person, but you wouldn't be able to tell unless we said it,
Look,
because it's
y'all, you can
the
form
bond.
relationships in so many different ways. And sis, I'm giving you your flowers right back. Like my
Mm.
life has gotten better as a result of working with
Oh
you
man.
professionally, personally. Like, sometimes you want to work with people, but you're like, let me see how they are because I don't know if they're professional. I don't want to be the one doing all
Yeah.
the work or what have because most of us, if not all of us, have had group projects, whether high school or you went to college or grad school or whatever, and you're like, I don't know if I want to work with this person. I'm gonna be the only one. But my sis right
Mhm.
here, we get it done. The two of us work on stuff together. And so I love that. And I love
Yeah.
you.
Oh, I love you too. Oh man, it's beautiful. You can have healthy relationships, as long as you're healed enough to collaborate. And that's the
Yes.
reality. As long as you're healed enough to collaborate, you can be with anyone, you can work with anyone, you can be in business with anyone, personal, relational. As long as you're healed enough to collaborate, it
Yes.
can work. And I feel like that's the
That's it.
thread that lasted us the whole season. So, oh, what a blessing.
Yes, yay to us. Can y'all just celebrate with us? Thank you to our listeners joining us, you hearing us or you seeing us. Just, if in the comments or whatever, just be like, hey, y'all, like, just give us a little positive vibe because that
Yeah.
goes a long way. I love to throw out positivity. Like, I throw out compliments. Like, if I see somebody in person, like, sis, I like your hair. Like, you rocking them shoes. Like, celebrate us. We celebrate you. Celebrate
Come
us. Get so
on.
excited.
Precisely. Exactly. So I think we should jump right into the topic.
Let's do it.
What we're
Let's do
talking
it.
about, discussing. I already gave the kind of preface of it, why we wanted to do it, and it's almost like having like a musical finale, right? Like this is the last episode of the season, and we're bringing music and
Let's
talking
do
about
it.
it and all that. Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
do it.
So we have two musicians, two musically gifted and inclined gentlemen
Yes,
behind the
they are.
scenes,
Mm.
wonderful guys who are gifted in their craft and can speak to the topic that we're talking about, mental health in the music industry, but also sprinkling in a little bit of mental health with Black men. It's
Yes.
not a top. It's not a very common topic that's talked about. If it is, it might be discarded or brushed aside. But
Right.
Black men, we love you and we want to see you
Yes, we
well and
do.
whole and healed. So I think it's good for Black men to talk about it. I think there's a lot of Black women and other people talking about the subject, but I think it's
Yes.
good to hear
To hear
Black
from
men talk
them,
about.
Black men need to be heard too, and we celebrate you. We love you. And exactly, sis. These are talented artists, and they're
Yes,
also smart, intelligent Black men. So, shout out to their well-roundedness. And we are looking forward to hearing from them as well as having you listeners hear from them as well. So let's get it, sis.
let's get it. You want to go ahead and introduce your guest?
Introduce my guest, our collective guest. I feel you. So one of our guests goes by the name of Jamil Rahim, aka also known as J.R. Ewing the Legend. This gentleman is talented, he's intelligent, He's an educator by day and rocks the mic and songwrites, in between, and quite a few other things that he has under his belt. He enjoys helping the community. As I said, he's an educator. So this is something that he really enjoys, helping us, the culture, and students, and also CEO of Chasing Goals Mindset. So he helps the youth, right? So I love it. That is Mr. Jamil Rahim, aka J.R. Ewing, the legend.
Awesome. And our other guest is Smega Nathi. Yay!
Hey!
He's an artist, filmmaker, a media guru, an editor, and he's an artist, hip hop, a piano. He does everything, and it's wonderful. He's the CEO of Loyal Kings Group, which is an umbrella company. It's a consortium. They do film, they do music, they help with all your media needs. And he's based in South Africa. Okay, that's number one. That's number one.
So, we are blessed to have these gentlemen on. And yes, Mr. J.R. Ewing, the legend, he is born and raised Miami. So, in the United States of America, since we have listeners from all over. And so, so some South Florida hip hop for him as far as musically going. Since we are blessed, we need to get these gentlemen on so the people can be as blessed as we are.
Hello.
Hello there, gentlemen. Hello. Welcome.
How you guys doing?
Awesome.
Great. Awesome. Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you for having us. South Africa will represent.
Yes.
Hey, so y'all heard that. Represent. Love it. South Africa. That's what's up.
Absolutely. And the culture is so rich here. The music, when you hear music here, it's on a whole different ball game. It's on a whole different wavelength. It's almost angelic in a way, just what's said, the words, the language. So,
oh my gosh, sis, I love this whole thing. Like, I feel like we unite in the diaspora, like from South Africa to United States. And,
True.
I'm born Jamaican. So, shout out to my Caribbean massive and you as well, Caribbean. So,
yes,
look, the diaspora is uniting. That's what's up. I love it.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yes,
so thank you guys for being here. We gave brief bios. If we really gave the full bio, we'd be here all day, So we thank you both for being here. Just to talk about this topic. I think just jumping into it, I guess just asking, what are some of the things that you see, especially surrounding mental health, in this industry, and what does that look like? What does it look like to take care of yourself? Like, I'm jumping kind of all over. What does it look like to take care of yourself in the music industry and to make sure that you're doing well and okay? And not just you, but artists you're working with, friends, family who are in the industry as well.
So whoever wants to jump in. Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Absolutely.
I guess I'll start. I don't really see like a real focus on mental health. I think a lot of people kind of do a lot of self-medication through, it could be marijuana usage, drug usage, a lot of alcohol. I know, several local artists here that have, passed away. Even a recent friend of mine, he was struggling with depression that I really didn't realize until now that I, go back and look that he was depressed. And he would, heavy drug usage. But I don't think the music industry really focuses on mental health as they should until it's too late,
Till it's too late. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's like it's indescribable, like the pain that one feels when you have to watch someone do that, type of destruction that's close to you. So thank you for sharing that. And you were going to share, Smega Nathi?
Oh yes. For me, being a musician for the past 15 years, I've seen a lot, and I was part of it. Like, I'm a victim of depression. Like, I walked through trying to come out of it, and I did by the grace of Yah. For me, it didn't take longer than many other people does to them. Maybe mainly it's because of I knew about the principles of of resurrection or of coming out or of being resilient to situations. So as my brother outlined, majority of these struggles, it's when there's a pressure for me, like the pressure, isolation, and stigma can lead to a person struggle like tremendously when it comes to dealing with their mental. So anyone who has a stigma, like I've seen people who just found out about their status of health, and they feel like they're not themselves anymore, and then it triggers their mind. And then I've seen people using substances to calm their nerves down, especially when a lot is expected in the industry. For example, performing for 10,000 of people, it comes with pressure, and you use anything that can calm your nerves down. So that's for me on my side. Those are the cases that always triggers the mental health.
That's good. And it kind of slides
Yeah.
into another question, right? That we kind of go a little more in depth of what are some of the reasons. I mean, we can assume, unless you're in the music industry, you're making an assumption of why someone would have mental health issues. But from two people in the industry, what are some, and Smega, you started kind of talking about it, performing in front of 10,000 people, like
Yeah.
what are some of the other issues that would cause poor mental health or just like mental illness in the music industry?
Um, to be honest with you, it is a tough career. You deal with a lot. It is close to being a superhero. And we know we don't take superheroes as people that have feelings. We don't take them as people who must have life, like they got their faults. So music industry has a lot of like pressure. I won't lie to you. Like pressure to entertain people, pressure to make money for your team. Like there's a lot that is within the music industry, and people, your friends, taking you and putting you up and leaving you to crash. So it happens in many cases for me. I won't lie, especially since COVID-19. Since COVID hit, I found myself stressing and having those mental breakdowns because of your friends are no longer giving you what they promised they would give you. Yeah.
Wow, that's real.
Yeah. Jay, I was gonna say, JR, do you have any?
I think it works on both ends of the spectrum. You have artists who struggling. They haven't made it. They might have kids, family issues, also health issues. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you have a lot of our well-known famous artists in the past. Could be Tupac, Jimi Hendrix. They could be dealing with the struggles of making it famous, and that can also lead to paranoia, drug use, a lot of things. So it's on both ends of the spectrum. The haves and the have-nots go through mental struggles. So that's why I think you've seen a lot of people leave before their time, or as they say, that a lot of them you find them, the story. They find them in a hotel room, passed away. You realize that they were going through some things and they weren't expressing it to people. So the whole mental health thing is just something really that, especially Black mental health, is just something that's really come into just the forefront the past decade. Especially if they didn't have that. Like Billie Holiday's story. She was going through a lot. Sam Cooke, Otis Redding. A lot of those people were going through a lot of things, but there was no mental health counseling at those times. So.
Yeah.
And can I add something?
Yes, please do.
Yes. Majority men. I'll talk about men in the industry because women might have another story. But as for us men, I don't know, we have this ego and pride that we don't allow ourselves to speak. You know, I can create a hit and then it blossoms, but not having a plan of monetizing it. It is
Yeah.
like it leads you to being famous and poor.
Mhm.
Right.
You are well known, the hit is all over, but it didn't monetize well to your bank account. Like, you know, you are just famous and poor. And when you go to shows, they know that this is the guy with that super banger hit. And how you dress, now it becomes an expectation and a lifestyle. So you do a lot of loans, you know, sometimes borrow your friend's shoes, friend's trousers, trying to look the part.
Mm.
And then until you find out that one of your team exposes you on a podcast that so and so was wearing my stuff, you know, he was claiming he was actually
Mm.
using an Uber until I borrowed him a car, you know, and then he starts to spill the beans. So for the person who was not living themselves, like who were lying all along, the triggers, some suicide, some enters in those drugs, substances, and you know, in the industry, once you are exposed, like in a negative way, it stays, like it stays until someone with another trend can maybe make your trend to at least come down because it will stay. And you know, anything that is on the internet stays forever. So the stigma, when you go to your neighborhood, they remember you with that thing.
Mm.
Even though you've rise up, even though you've made your mistakes and able to amend them and know how to use money, how to make money, how to learn the music business now, because there's a difference between the industry and the business. You see, so in
Yeah.
music industry, in music, it's a broad sector, but we can the music industry is when we meet during the events or during activity. That's music industry, but music business happens during the week, like weekday. Those deals you sign, those endorsements, those meetings, those product placement makes it a music business. So if you incline yourself as a music business person, chances of you stressing are less. But if you like focusing on the industry, I wanna enter, I wanna pierce, I wanna make it, they must stream my music, I wanna reach a million stream. And then sometimes you use anything you can find. And when it's time to pay for what you utilized, it becomes a problem. So become a junkie, you start by selling stuff. Yeah, and then it builds up. So according to me, that's what I wanted to share. That we
Mm.
just need to learn as men to talk. Like we must talk like brotherhood. That's it.
Yeah, I want to add to that. Yeah, he said a good point. A lot of people are they have a banger, but they are popular and poor. Like the music industry, like he just said, it's day to day. Like T Pain said, one record just to make it blow might cost 100 grand in America. You know, just one hit to get it to every market, to get it. You know, and everybody wants their palms greased, as we say in America. Every
Yes.
DJ wants you to pay them to play it. They want you to pay to perform. They want you to pay for promotion. So you have to really set up a budget and how you're going to fund your career. That's why a lot of the greats here in America, the Master P's, the Jay Z's, and so on and so on, they came out of street money. You know, that's how they funded their careers. But if you're an average working guy, you can't just give somebody $500 all the time or pay to perform, and it's $100 for 2 songs or whatever. So that can also lead to a lot of stress and a lot of depression, because you got a hot song, but you don't have the finances to get it around the world.
True.
Wow, gentlemen, you are really sharing a lot of what we like to say nuggets and gems for all of our listeners. I'm hearing so many things like artists struggling to make it, and along the way having challenges, among other challenges, of trying to look the part. And when you're trying to look the part, you can do things like borrow things and cars or clothes or what have you, and then people find you out. I think I heard something like you get exposed, like, oh, they're not real, they had borrowed this, that, and the third, and just all of the stresses and being possibly canceled after you're found out. It seemed like so much pressure. And I remember one of you mentioned, like, y'all need to talk to each other. Tell me about the support system or lack thereof that Black men have as they're going through navigating being an artist and trying to make it, but maybe not having people there to support you, and loyalty in the industry or lack thereof. I would love to hear you speak on that. Support system, lack thereof, loyalty, because I'm hearing a lot of challenges with that from when y'all are talking.
Yes. To be honest with you, what triggers that, it's you need to be honest with yourself first, and um, you need to also check your circle, because many books have said it, that show me your friends, I will show you your future kind of situation. You know, sometimes it's not a problem. Actually, musicians that started from lower background, they're actually the most talented musicians than the ones that are growing up in a silver platter. There's nothing wrong about struggling. There's nothing wrong about starting from the bottom. But what's wrong is your circle. Um, so most of the time, people confuse kindness with weakness. And people confuse when you share your vulnerability with you being also weak. They expect you to be always talking positivity, always happy. They don't understand that sometimes a musician or an artist, actually they're moody in nature.
Mm.
To be honest with you, they
Moody.
Yes.
like they deal with a lot of internal frustration, because being a musician for me is like being a prophet, and you sometimes prophesy the nature of existence. And being a prophet, internal voices must be loud, and then the external voice must be quiet. So you find yourself that your internal voice is loud, but your circle is louder, and they cannot even pick your weakness and workshop it, like how a president is workshopped each time is about to deliver a speech. You always see someone who's nailing their media presence or their press release proper, because they went through a workshop. So in South Africa, I feel like we don't have enough facilities that allows men and musicians or artists to sit down and forget the fame and forget who they are, and just unleash the dirt that is stored in their heart. Just deliver this luggage of a burden that you don't know where it comes from. So we always want to look cool in podcast with some grills on my teeth. When you say, how are you? I'm like, nah, nothing. I'm alright, all the time. you know, and that's not the case. Even if We have cases where a musician lost his child in an accident. He was driving, and then the child was with him, you know, and then he did an accident. He lost the baby. I mean, the daughter, I think the daughter was 11, 12 years old, if I'm not mistaken. So next week they ask him, "How are you?" And then, "I'm fine, I'm fine." So we need to tell the truth, that I'm not okay. I feel like I'm the one who was responsible in losing my daughter. I still blame myself, and go through the healing. As you guys especially deal with mental health, you help such people. So for me, it's always about who are you with. If you see that your circle only celebrates your success, but when it comes to adversity, they disappear like a shade in the night. So that really may put an artist in an isolation state, and then they build up anger and frustration, and then their mind, they'll be rude into the society, and then they will appear on the news that who's and who's assaulted who and who in a mall, those kind of things. So I think uh, the lack of knowing who is in your circle and how best they assist you. I feel like we want to be surrounded by a lot of people that are doing nothing. Yeah.
That,
Mm.
that's good. And I
Yeah.
forgot to mention when I was introducing Smega that he's also a psychologist.
You said what,
Because
sis? You said
no, I
he's
said
also a psychologist?
a psychologist because it's just the way that he's able to think, and it's not. I mean, what both you guys are sharing, it's not popular conversation.
It's not, but
It's
it's
not
real. And
conversation.
I
Yeah,
truly appreciate it personally and for our listeners. That vulnerability piece and just
it's
knowing who's in your circle
needed.
and going through the journey. Like Steph and I talk about this all the time on our podcast. You have to go through the healing process. If there's someone you lost or some type of grief, we cannot just say everything is cool, everything's fine,
Mm.
including when you're an artist, especially when you're an artist,
Especially when you're an
especially
artist.
because society will make you feel like, as has been said by one or both of you gentlemen, you got to just always be like happy, and you got to always be, as they say, on 10 in the United States. Like you just always got to be like looking good, saying good, like, but that's not real.
That's
Whatever it
not a
is that
reality.
you're doing, that's not reality. That's not
It
life.
causes musicians to now be actors. You know that you have to act.
Exactly.
True.
But
Exactly. Where your
you know what
acting
it,
is
yeah,
all the time. Like you're always on stage.
you're always on
That's
stage.
not
You
real.
know what it really is. And then JR, I want to hear how you feel about the
Yes,
support system
absolutely.
for Black men and in the industry. What it really is us, the consumers of the music. We're not comfortable with musicians' humanity.
Right.
It's us. It's not. It has nothing to do
Unfortunately,
with
that's
music.
true. Yes,
It's
as a
us.
society.
We are not
Yes.
comfortable with seeing musicians that we have placed on such high pedestals as humans. And so,
Because they're
because we,
superheroes.
the superheroes, as Mega said, we cannot handle it. So we say you guys have to hide your true emotions. So it's real talk. And thank you both.
Yeah, thank you both. And yeah, JR, I'm sure you want to add something to that. So,
Um, and you asked me about support system. I think that's what you asked me.
yeah.
It's other than your maybe your girl. There's really no support system. Um, you go to these events and try to network. You realize everybody is kind of we're trying to reach the same goal, I would say. So there really is no support system. You're kind of in a room full of just wolves. So each all trying to get the sheep. So there is really no support system. So you're basically going in and on everything alone, trying to maneuver your way to reach that goal. Um, but that's why I think I kind of, even though he seems ruthless at times, like you gotta admire somebody like 50 Cent. Uh, I guess coming from his early adversities in childhood and growing up in the places he grew up, you can also say like Birdman, Master P, a lot of those black self-made guys from the latter part of the 20th into the 21st century. I think they already go in knowing that there's no friends here, and they have that agenda that they're not going to be stopped, and they're going to make it by any means. Well, like you said, like those of us who come from good means, we have to go through trial and error and find out that not everybody is a friend and not everybody is loyal. So but there's no support system. You're trying to it's an ongoing process, ongoing struggle. And you realize some people are cool, some people are not cool. And it's just a learning process every week on a weekly basis, I would say.
Now, thank you for sharing that, JR. I'm curious, as we mentioned on the onset of this episode, that we're in different countries, right? So America, South Africa. Smega, do you notice the similarities in the struggles of having a support system, as JR mentioned, or do you feel like in some ways there's more unity where you are among artists? I'm curious to hear some of the similarities or differences with the circles in different countries.
Yes, actually, Lashish, to be honest with you, that's a great question. To be honest with you, as an artist in South Africa, my entire youth have been fantasizing to be like T.I., Ewing, like everyone in the States, because we found a lot of icons like that side, than more icons this side. Unfortunately, back then there was no technology that is as advanced as today. So I still feel like South Africa is still healthy compared to America. Honestly speaking, what musicians that go through in America, the things they go through, they are 10 times heavier than the things we go through here. For example, here, the only thing that will put an artist in a predicament is making a wrong deal. What I mean is they fund you money, they call it maybe a 360-degree contract. They give you an advance and you don't understand how an advance works. Then you buy a house, just spend this advance, And then they require 3 albums from you after 3 years. And you give them your first album, the second one becomes whack, doesn't sell. It creates you to create the 4th album now because the money needed to be paid back. The 3rd album, you are like, fuck, you know what? I'm failing to make sales now. And then you are in a negative. They start liquidating your car. They start liquidating your house. And then we watch it. As viewers, we're watching you getting repossessed. And because you were under a certain deal, not understanding the terms and conditions, And the painful part about the 360 deal is that anything that I register that is under my name, they are involved. Like I can be a musician and own a soccer team, they are part of the soccer team. I can be a musician, but apart from being a musician, I just want to invest in property, so they will have shares in those properties. So you will find yourself no longer having yourself. The I factor is dead, you see. And then you find other artists, they are not in a 360 deal, they're highly independent, but they are struggling with cash. Like they're struggling to just fund a music video, find sales, distribution, and publishing. Yet they're talented. So they will rather give up in this side of South Africa. You find them going to retail shop or being a janitor, a superstar becoming a janitor due to cash. Look, because in music, you don't need someone to fund you once. You need someone to keep on funding you. because they must know we are in an unpredictable industry. One song can change your life, but it takes many songs. It takes many songs to get that one song.
Mhm.
So we are not in that state of we see it's dangerous. Even though 2022 we lost our biggest rapper, Ricky Rick, uh, through a suicide. He suicided himself. I personally didn't understand why, because you have a sponsorship, you have a deal and endorsements from a bank. Like he had sponsors next to him. You know, you cannot say I'm hungry then. So it's a lot, and my brother JR will even testify on it because it's a lot. Some uses deities. They summon serious deities to assist their music. You know, some use God, some use the opposite of God, and then the opposite of God has its own terms and conditions. And failing to meet those terms and conditions, you will say you are crazy now because you'll be picking up papers and eating plastics. You don't know what happened to that person. Some will say he sold his soul. Some will say he was spied in an event. Some will say a lot of things that is into drugs as a junkie. So I feel like in South Africa we need artists society whereby even if I pass on, I know that there is an insurance for me um, that can take care of my loved ones. We don't have an insurance for artists, number one. We don't have, even if each record label, because this doesn't need a lot of facilities of health, of mental care. A record label, anywhere a musician is signed under, they must have that mental office, not general, because we will be sitting with murderers. We don't want them. We don't want to be cancelled by someone who cancels murderers. You know. We need someone who is specifically from artists. So I strongly believe that the facilities where you make music on must provide you those, and not and do away with the robotic system of thinking that it's a numbers game, numbers don't lie, and someone is dying trying to push those numbers. But I know America cannot say much, but what we are seeing is tougher. We are still at the mercy at this side.
Yeah. I like
Mm.
that. I like that you said it's still healthy over here in South Africa, especially in the music
Yeah.
industry. Even as kind of up and down as it might be,
Mm.
but the American music system is it's a lot,
Mm.
and just the different countries in general. I think because, and we've had these conversations multiple times, I think because of the propaganda machine that is America, and it pushes everything out, it makes those who don't live in the country see America as heaven, like the streets are paved with gold and there's diamonds and pearls and it's just a
Yeah,
reality. It paints it
exactly.
as heaven. But what we see really in society is the truth of the matter, that
Right.
there are many artists who are very heavily addicted to substances, heavy substances. Also, a lot of them are miserable. We can see them miserable, and a lot of them take their lives. I think
Mm.
that if there was healthiness, then that wouldn't be the case, right? So even if we don't know the root cause, we can see the symptoms. And
Right.
so it's beautiful because we can get down to the root cause of it so that we can start seeing these like maladaptive symptoms. Like I have to go party every night, I have to go drink every night, I have to go snort something
Right.
every night, I have to go do something every night. We can even be addicted to people, that we're engaging with other people because we
Right.
just the pressure's too much and we did a bad deal and we did sell our soul and we did sign a
Right.
contract to another entity and deity. Like all that is real. I love that we're able to cross the continents, right, and say, okay, I maybe I wanted that at one time, but when I see the reality of what it is, it makes people pause. And I'm saying this really quick and then land of this plane. There are a lot of people who want to jump into the music industry because you want the fame, you want the fortune, you want to be trending, you want the reels, you want all this. But if you are not mentally, emotionally, and spiritually prepared to enter into that arena, then we do see a lot of people trampled on, and we don't recognize them anymore because they're completely different. So I love the comparisons between the two countries.
Yeah, I agree, sis. And you know, like you were saying about the preparedness, and as I was just listening to these gentlemen, the music industry can really just eat you alive if you're not prepared. You can find yourself, around people, as you said, that you shouldn't be around, doing things you shouldn't be doing, using substances. So, having people around you, support system, having some loyalty, all those things, and just being grounded and prepared. When I hear you two gentlemen, it sounds like you have some sort of grounding that helps you to navigate. And so, as we were thinking about different things to touch on, I wanted to know what are some things that you do or that you think artists can and should do to navigate and keep their mind right. Because as you've touched on, there's so many symptoms that come out of being in the industry, with wherever country, that you're living in. So what do y'all say?
I would say obviously, firstly you have to have a, religious or spiritual base to your life. That can help you avoid a lot of the pitfalls and a lot of the evils that are just in the nightlife as a whole. We go back what he says, you got to have the right people around you and stay away from the wrong people. Cautiously navigate, like I said, make the connections with the people that can help you. And like you said, look, I'm straight underground, so I haven't had nobody's approached me with a 360 deal yet. I just get approached with the shady promotion. Give me this money and I hook you up with this. I give you 1 million streams. I get that more so. But just being well read also, and just not to go academic, but study the history of the music industry, and see where people in the past have made mistakes. And that unfortunately that's what a lot of artists, they're not well read. They don't study times before them, just like this new generation, and they end up falling into the same traps that people in the past have before. But like I said, but as long as you you got to have self-preservation first, and that is going to help you navigate the best way you can, and know where to put your energy and where to shine and where not to shine, and so on and so forth. And that will help you. It's not all about the diamonds and gold, but about your ultimate happiness at the end of the day. So I'm gonna land the plane there, she said. So
Exactly.
I just want to add on my brother what he's saying, but I just want to emphasize on this one, because this one I feel like that's where we all, as musicians, kind of find it hard to kind of make it. We should stop serving three gods. I was supposed to say stop serving two gods, but I realized that there's a third god that musicians tend to serve. So as a musician, you need to decide which god you serve. I feel like each god will give you their own different path. For example, we have God, the one who created the heaven and earth, and he loves when you sing songs for him and sing songs that helps other kids. And then there's money, which is another god, and there is the devil. So likely most of the time money goes together with the devil. It's like the alliance. And us as musicians, we have a tendency of saying, I believe in Yeshua, I believe in God, and go and do the deadly, evil, wicked deeds and rely on the grace. That says, my mom is a Christian, I grew up in a Christian church. By the power I'm saved. So I'm good. I'm cool. Um, I've seen it a lot, especially when I'm watching the awards that are happening, the Grammys. You know, sometimes people are wearing in red with blood, with a cross that is perverted, like the cross is downward,
Yeah.
and then lights coming out. And then in a second they come back. You know, people collapse. I'm for me, I'm like, this God is busy, This God is busy. And I attend concerts of Christian concerts whereby it's worship, you know. And sometimes you go in a secular music where it's outdoor events, a gospel musician performs on the same stage with a secular musician. Then they all pull different targets of their audience. So all I'm saying is, but in most cases, I found it in many cases, artists that start by doing secular music and don't mind putting the word back and don't mind putting the word bitch and don't mind putting any slang or any vulgar in a song. In a few years later, they repent. And I've seen many cases. They'll be like, I now go with Jesus. If we still remember, Kanye West was like that. He was Kanye West, Kanye West, Kanye West. Suddenly, I choose God. And then Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. And then some of us musicians, we tend to go to the other side after disaster. So we are serving him under the disaster. That, oh Lord, forgive me, forgive me. We no longer serve him because we love to serve. You see? So as a musician, I feel like we must stop serving different offices. Some will say, I just want to make music and be rich, and be like Diddy. Be a mogul.
Yeah, no, not like him. Not
and stop 1,000 baby oils.
Oh
my wish.
gosh. Well, but before we not get into all of that, but
it's like a part of
comic relief. The pause, some comic relief.
It's a part of the industry. It's a part of the industry.
Absolutely, but no, I'm glad what you were saying, Smega, about the serving different gods. And what I'm hearing, among other things that I'm hearing in that, is setting the proper goals. And one of my favorite words, intentionality. What is your whole purpose and intention in making music when you get into the industry is something that I think artists should really think about, because when you set your goals and you set your intentionality and you know who you want to serve within those goals, then you just continue to evaluation. So you don't just sign deals, you just don't connect with just anybody. And you take care to build up that support system of people that, as one of you said, you know your circle. But if you don't go in knowing who you're supposed to serve, to the industry and start making music, if you don't go in with goals, and then you could just be around anybody and sign any deal, and then you find your life playing out, as many artists, be it in America or perhaps in South Africa or anywhere, you find artists living their life out in the public eye, because they didn't know what they're supposed to do from jump. They didn't know who they were serving. They sign a deal, they backtrack, they post, they say one thing and they run it back and say something else. So you're like a chicken with your head cut off running around when you don't set that goal intention from first. So I'm glad you brought that up. That's very important. It's very important to know what you're doing from jump. Sis, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, it helps you navigate, it helps you navigate. And, you both have wisdom and a strong sense of who you are. And without that, I think it's good examples to see that for those who are aspiring to be in the industry, those who are in the industry now and maybe have lost their way.
Right.
Sometimes you just reach your why, or the bills start piling up, or things start happening and things start occurring, and it shifts your whole focus, and it actually leads to worse mental health. So it's like, okay, you enter in with poor mental health, and then things happen, and it leads to worse and worse and worse until you break. And some people need that
Exactly.
break. We do see Kanye break. He broke like an egg in front of everybody, and in a lot of ways, still broken. He lost his mom. He was drinking Jack Daniels or Hennessy right on the red carpet when he snatched the mic from Taylor. Like we can see the negative effects that
Yes,
not
we can.
having a self-care regimen, not having a good circle around you, like not being able to just take a break and practice self-care, go swimming, read a book, travel, go on a trip, like all those things are what we need to really navigate, and really emphasizing the importance of it in the
Yeah,
music industry.
absolutely.
Black man, like
Yeah,
it's emphasizing the true importance of it, and what we need. So
exactly.
necessary. Smega, I don't know if you wanted to share what you do for self care, or how you take care of yourself in the industry, before we wrap up. Believe it or not, we're about to wrap up this episode. We've already been talking almost an hour,
Oh
so
my.
I know it goes so quick. But what do you do for self care, and what would you encourage other musicians to do for
Yeah,
self
well,
care?
with me and my music, it's simple. I've made that decision long time ago. It's all about God, love, and life. You know, sports. That's me. My music gotta talk about God. I gotta talk about love. Like I have that power to make people fall in love. Um, I gotta talk about life. Anything that one come across, either good or bad, that happens in life. I feel like that's my office as a musician.
Mm,
Apart from that, it's vanity for me. I cannot talk about vanity stuff, pagan stuff. Even my hand writing doesn't allow me to talk about things I don't own, things I don't have. I only prophesy with my music. I only share. I only resonate with people. So I would advise people to stay away from fame, and they must chase purpose.
mm,
Fame disappears, and fame is like a bubble gum, and audience will chew it. And after the sugar is gone, they will spit it out and choose another sweet bubble gum.
Mm.
So we are living in a recyclable music industry. You mess up, there's someone to replace your ground. Even though they might not sound like you, but they will replace you. Your fan will go to another fan. So keep it simple. Like, for example, do music that one day when you go through a lot, you listen to and it revives you. That's me.
Mm.
That's simple as like that. Because if you do music and it's all about those vulgar words as I was talking about, and now you're going through a family loss just died. A family member you just died. You cannot be listening to a beach bed up have my money and those kind of you know.
Oh boy.
So
My.
like choose. If it's God, let it be God, love and life. And then if it's the devil, then we can talk about twerkings and other things, because it comes with that package. It's
that's
what it attracts those spirits. Once your music like has another effect, it attracts that audience. So that's my closing words. I don't know, my brother JR, what he can add.
Have any closing words, JR?
Yeah, just you know, what I do is obviously regular prayer, daily prayers, fasting, meditation, and I use the studio as also a way to relieve mental health. I can go there and talk about things from the past that have affected me, and talk about my visions in the future, what I want to do, God willing. Also, just I've got into, I used to make a lot of hardcore type of music. Now I listen to a whole variety of types of music, and then I try to make my music more clean and more positive. Like your brother said, make it for the light. Make it for people that want to feel good. So putting a lot of more feel good music, a lot of more variety, and just doing things that make me feel better. Music that makes me feel better, that I can say, man, this is making me feel better. And I can see that it's making other people feel better. And just taking just on a personal, just take different days just to relax and reflect and do a lot of more reflection, and that helps you overcome a lot of the struggles you may have.
That's key.
That was great. That's key. He said it right there. I mean,
it's
sis,
perfect.
I don't really have much to add to that. Anything to add? That's perfect.
No, we can just reflect on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
on
let's do that.
what both of you said.
Yes, exactly.
And it's really good to hear Black men sharing about this. It's just not.
Yes.
We want to make it more of a thing. I think we talk about mental health and girl, let's go on a girls trip and let's travel and do all this stuff. But we want to make sure we're encouraging and we're providing the safe space for it to happen. For our Black brothers as well. And I don't want to say all men. I'm just saying we're talking about one specific group, right? That we see high mental illness and high mental effects of the pressures of the world and racism and all this stuff happening and circling around. So we're grateful and thankful that you two shared with us. Please, before we wrap up, can you let the listeners know? And hey, to all the listeners, thank you for the comments.
Hey, listeners. And thank you, gentlemen. Hey, yes. Listeners.
Can you share where people can find you and new projects that you may or may not have out? Let people know where they can find you. It's good. And it's good for listeners to see the behind the artist, right? We can hear your music, but to know there's head and shoulders and wisdom behind the artist is beautiful too. It actually makes people listen to your music more. So where can people find you when they want to stream? Not if, but they will.
So Smega, you want to share with the people?
Oh yes. Thank you so much again, guys. After I've said what I wanted to say, I'm feeling much better. People can find me on all socials. On TikTok, I'm Smega Nathi. Yay! And on Instagram, it's Smega Nathi. Yay! Again, Facebook, Smega Nathi. And then YouTube, Smega Nathi. And then great news, I'm dropping a single on the 1st of March. It's titled I'm a Parasite, meaning that those who are leeching, we are tired. We are tired, surrounded by parasites. So the song chases away parasites. So I like it. I can't wait. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Okay, thank you. Congratulations. All right, JR.
You can find me on Instagram, Spotify, obviously, YouTube. My Instagram is JR Ewing Music 2020. My last full-length project I dropped back in October, Cooler Heads Prevail Volume 1, which was a compilation of songs me and my late partner had compiled during the whole COVID era. Recently I dropped 2 new singles, Big Bags Dropping with my producer Doja Music, and I just did a drop last week with the beautiful lady Silhouette, new song, Bamboo, my first reggae song I've ever done in my life. So like I said, I'm trying different things, different things. So look for that, Bamboo, streaming everywhere now.
Well, JR, thank you. And if I may add, I am Lady Silhouette. She is me and
Come
I am
on.
her. She is me and I am her. So
no Silhouette. She's right here. Okay.
Lady Silhouette. I'm right here. So y'all got a bonus. Y'all got a bonus artist.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, listeners.
And we'll make sure that all links to both artists are in our descriptions for YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and all that. So you can just click on it easy. Guys, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. We really, really appreciate you taking the time to be with us.
Yeah, you guys made our finale amazing. So this is the last episode of this season. We thank you for joining us. We're gonna have a personal chat, a private chat after this. Sorry, you can't. This is the after party. We're gonna go to the green room and chat.
Happy finale, happy finale, and thank you for having us.
Thank you for celebrating us. Woo!
Yes,
we asked for celebration, sis, and Smega
and we
celebrating.
got one.
Yes,
we got it. We're locking this season.
We're locking this season up. Come on, lock it up. So we had an amazing season. Cheers to season 1. We'll be back for season 2. Should you want to watch, oh man, I miss them so much. Oh man, go to our YouTube. I'm dropping all links on Facebook, Instagram, on LinkedIn, and all of our places. We want you to still email us. You can just watch our YouTube videos. Should you miss us as the weeks go forward, you can just go back and rewatch and see what we've already done. And then as we prepare for season 2, we'll be ready to come back with some heat. And we'll see you next season. Thank you so much. Blessings to you. Remember to protect your healing. And remember, the healing is more than a hashtag. Okay. We'll see you next